Narcissists are notorious for using rage as a way to control everybody around them. Rage is so difficult to deal with a narcissist because there's no place to go with it. You're never going to get an apology from them, unless, of course, it's performative so they can get something they want from you. But rage is very difficult to deal with. And in this video, I'm going to talk about what rage does to you over time and the ways that you'll react and act as an adult child of a narcissist. If you're an ACON, you've been conned into believing so many things about yourself that aren't true, and rage was used as a way to control you to do that. I'm Dr. Meg Haworth. I'm a transpersonal psychologist, holistic nutritional chef, and best-selling author of Get Well Now, Healing Yourself with Food and the Power of the Mind. And I help ACONs, adult children of narcissists, to become healed icons. Icons are independent, confident, original, and naturally you. I do this in my Iconic Me coaching program, in my online course, Healing the 5 Primary Wounds of Parental Narcissistic Abuse, and I host the online summit, the Toxic Parent Recovery Summit. And of course, this YouTube channel. And if you haven't already done so, please like this video, subscribe to my channel so you can get more of these videos, and check out all these videos. I have almost 400 videos on this channel. I'm so excited. A lot of hard work for a long time. And it's all free to you. So please take advantage of it. All right, so let's get started on this thing that rage does. Narcissistic rage from your own parent. They use rage to control you. They use rage to get you to do what they want you to do. And they use rage as like a primary thing that they do first. They blow up at you, and then they often will go silent. So they'll use the silent treatment on you afterwards. And then you won't be able to go and speak to them about what happened. They are not approachable. They don't want to be approachable. They don't want to talk through anything. It is so important to them that you don't point out what they did, because if you do, it shatters their false sense of self, their false sense of that fantasy world they have created, that fantasy idea of who they are or who they're projecting themselves to be when they know they're not that person. They know they're not the good person that they're pretending to be. It's manipulation, and it is awful. So what does it do to you? So as an adult child of a narcissistic parent, what rage does to you over time is one of the first things that it does is it makes you want to avoid confrontation. So you may avoid even the smallest of confrontations, things that might be really benign and easy for you to work through had you ever been given the skills, but they weren't modeled for you. So how could you possibly know how to speak up and say, hey, let's talk through this thing, because you don't know how to, even though you want to and you feel like if you could, but you're just afraid. You're really afraid to put yourself out there. You're really afraid to give your own opinion about things. And why wouldn't you be? So you will avoid confrontation at all costs. And so what you'll do then instead is that you'll people please. So you'll do all kinds of things where you'll bend over backwards, you work yourself into a pretzel for other people, and you will neglect your own needs. And this builds up resentment. And it's this resentment that will eventually blow in you somehow. It may come out in illness. It may come out in you blowing up at other people. It may, just out of character and without warning, you may find yourself doing things like this. It may come out in you trying to control other people or being controlling at work, perfectionistic tendencies. There are all kinds of ways that this narcissistic rage and how it's affected you can come out. But being afraid of confrontation is going to be one of the primary things that you will do. Another thing that may happen for you is you may go silent in the face of difficult conversations. So you won't speak up, and maybe you won't even add something into a meeting at work because you're afraid of what's going to happen if you do speak up and just give an idea or just give a suggestion. Silencing you is an unwritten rule of narcissists everywhere. But what this does to you as an adult child of a narcissist, if you were trained, you were programmed to stay silent in the face of things that really matter, it's not easy for you to just suddenly become somebody who speaks up in the moment. So that rage that they use to control you with can really keep you in that silent space. And that could be why you're still not speaking up for yourself or not contributing ideas to something, to a meeting or to something that's really important for you. Destructive rage from a narcissistic parent can also make you isolate yourself. You may isolate yourself and not trust anybody because you really believe no one can be trusted. And the truth was, the narcissistic parent was the one who couldn't be trusted. And they flipped that all on you and they blamed it on you, making you think that you were the one who couldn't be trusted. So they created a double bind for you. And that's where you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And so it's a no-win situation. Where nobody wins, except of course the narcissist. They always win. They always come out on top, using rage as one of the primary things that they use to control you so they can stay in that top position. And that's really what it's all about for them. It's about control. They want to control you into being the way they want you to be for them. And this is where you can change this. There's a lot you can change here, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. But again, if you haven't already liked this video, please do so. It really helps get me up in the algorithm so that more people get to see it, because a lot of people really need this kind of help today. All right, so another thing that narcissistic rage from your parent may create in you are a propensity towards passive-aggressive behaviors. Now, you may do this just because you were never given any way of being communicative, of making requests for things that you wanted or needed. You weren't allowed to do that. So you never developed the skill. So you may do things like you're mad at your husband because he hasn't taken out the trash. And so you go and angrily take out the trash right in front of him. You're so angry, but you're being passive because you're not saying anything, but you're being aggressive because you're physically taking out the trash in front of him to try to let him know how angry you are about it. So because you're tired of asking him to do this over and over and over again. So those kinds of things. It's just one example, but if you think about other ways that you might be passive aggressive, where instead of making a request or talking something through, you do some sort of a behavior that shows that you're upset. So think about that, because that's really important for you to kind of really understand, one, where that came from. Because you didn't have any way of being able to express yourself with your narcissistic parent. So then you may be using that anger that you push down, because you're going to still be angry. This may not sound right to you, but you're still going to be angry by the way that you were treated by your narcissistic parent. That anger is something you push down into your energy system and into your body. And so when you push that anger down, it will damage you over time. It's that anger that you need to release from your own system. Because when a narcissistic parent uses rage against you to control you, you will have a feeling about that. You're going to have an emotional response about that, but you're not going to be able to do anything about that emotional response. So it's most likely that you're going to turn it in on yourself, or maybe you'll take it out on your siblings, or take it out on your boyfriend or girlfriend. It's going to come out in some way. And one of the primary ways it does come out is an illness. And this is exactly what happened to me, and exactly why I do the work that I do, which I'm going to get to in just a moment. But first, I want to tell you a little bit more about some of the things that having a narcissistic parent raging does to you. Rage from a narcissistic parent may make you overthink things to the point of exhaustion. So you're completely exhausted by thinking things like, I should have said this, I should have done that, or if I say this, then this could happen. If I say that, then that can happen. So you may have these conversations going on in your head trying to predict what somebody's going to say. You learned that from your narcissistic parent. You did it because you were trying to predict what they were going to say and what they were going to do, and it was unpredictable because there were times where you said things that you were sure they were going to blow up at, and then they didn't. And then there were other times where you said things that were so benign and you were sure they weren't going to blow up, and then they did. So this constant confusion will get you in that place again of silence where you feel like you're just not going to want to say what's on your mind. You're going to overthink things to the point of exhaustion. And so then you don't say anything at all. And this is really hard for you in the long run because it creates a big emotional impact and drainage on your body, on your energy field over time. And again, it can make you sick and it can make you feel exhausted. And this can be related to if you have chronic fatigue syndrome. One of the things I had, fibromyalgia, another thing I had. And these are things that can be healed. So please know that. And again, we'll get to that in just a moment. Another thing that narcissistic rage from your parent as a child and all through your childhood and into your adulthood will do to you is it will make you feel like you have to walk on eggshells in all of your relationships. So, and you may be perceiving that somebody is a danger or a threat to you when they're absolutely not, but because your perception is so skewed to being hyper aware, hyper alert, always looking around for danger in the room, which is exactly how you were trained, exactly how you were programmed, then you may continue doing that in relationships where it's absolutely not even necessary. You may be able to speak to that person in your life and you just, one, you don't know how, and two, you're terrified that if you do say something to them, you're going to upset them. And the thing is that it's okay to upset people, but not when you were raised by a narcissistic parent, because upsetting the narcissistic parent had major consequences attached to it. But there may not be major consequences to speaking up to a friend, but you never tried because you were afraid. And so this is part of what may be happening with you when it comes to rage that your narcissistic parent used to control you with. Narcissistic rage from your parent as a child into adulthood can also make you overly sensitive to anger. And so even when healthy anger is coming your way, you may perceive it as a threat. And healthy anger, it's normal. Anger is something that we use to reset our boundaries when we've been threatened, we've been violated in some way. So we may become defensive and protective, but we don't know how to break down those defensive barriers because now we've got this huge wall up around us as adult children of narcissists, and we don't know how to take that wall down, and we don't know how to not get in that protective and defensive stance to try to deal with situations that have even just healthy anger, normal anger, like, hey, they're upset at you because you did something, and all it may take is just a simple apology on your part, like, oh yeah, you know what, I did do that, and you claim it, and then you apologize for it. But you may not be doing that because you're so sensitive to anger that you just see all of it as a threat, and you see all of it as a potential to harm you, and it may not be the case. So here's what you're going to need to learn in order to help heal this issue with having a narcissistic parent using rage as a way to control you, manipulate you, and to hurt you. And so one of the first things that you'll need to learn really is to sort out your own emotional life. Like, how do you feel about things? What do you really feel? Now, if you've been using anger to protect yourself, there's going to be other emotions present underneath the surface. And so as you start to get aware of what those things are, it's going to be very helpful for you. And one of the things that will be also very helpful for you is seeing how does that emotion, so say that emotion of anger or rage is coming towards you, and you're terrified. Of course you're terrified. You're afraid for your own safety, and rightfully so. Well, where do you feel that in your body? Are you feeling it in your heart? Are you feeling it in your stomach? Are you feeling it in your throat? So start to learn your body, and how your body is holding this emotional reaction, because it's this emotional reaction that really gives you clues as to how to unwind it. I think of these negative emotions, this guilt, this shame, this fear, this terror, all of this helplessness that you may be feeling. All of these feelings, these emotions are something that are there to teach you something about who you really are, if only you would listen to them. But we're being told, no, avoid your emotions, go the other way, stop crying, don't go there. You're too sensitive. Well, what are those sensitive emotions that are coming up? Do you even know? So getting in touch with those are going to be really helpful. Getting a journal and journaling about these emotions. What's coming up for me? What are the beliefs associated with this? What do I think about my own self because of the way I was treated by my narcissistic parent? Like, that's a huge thing to really look at, and a very important thing to look at as well. So learning to sit with your emotions, to feel how they feel in your body, and to do things that will help you to release that emotional energy from your field, whether that's to find a somatic therapist, to work with somebody like me who does somatic psychotherapeutic techniques. I use my whole person integration technique to help you to release that emotional energy from your body, from your field, and that limiting core negative belief that has been holding you back. That belief that has been creating this perception that everyone is not to be trusted. Nobody's good enough for you. Nobody's good enough. I'm not good enough. It's just like, those things are not true. Those are the ways that you were programmed, beliefs that you were programmed to believe that simply are not the truth of you and who you really are. And as you learn what those things are, then you can open up to what you really want to feel. I hear this all the time from my clients. What they really want to feel is they want to feel peace. They want to feel love, compassion, health, wealth, happiness, joy, excitement. And a lot of times we're so disconnected from those wonderful qualities that we all have access to because of the rage of the narcissistic parent, that we don't even know how to connect with those parts. And that's a part of what my whole person integration technique does, is it helps you to connect with those parts and to help you to bring that healing into your whole system. And I've watched people heal symptoms overnight. I've seen diseases disappear. They've happened in my own body. I mean, it's really incredible to watch this. It's 20 years of hundreds of people I've worked with my whole person integration technique, and thousands of sessions where at the end of every session it's, oh, I feel better. Oh, my heart doesn't hurt anymore. Oh, my stomach doesn't hurt anymore. This is profound, really. The emotional root cause of illness and in an emotional abuse cycle that the narcissistic parent has put you through your entire life. They've used emotions as a weapon to control you with. Think about what that does to you, and what turning all of that around, what releasing that from your field will do for you, so that you can open up to love and compassion and caring and kindness on all these things. I'm not saying you're not those things. I'm not saying that at all. But when you embody those qualities, where you feel like you're living more of your life in that space versus living in the rumination, living in the fear, living in the walking on eggshells, living in that consciousness of I get everything wrong and never do anything right, of really low self-esteem, self-worth, feeling insecure, all of those things. Let's heal those things. It's really important. So if you haven't already done so, please go on over to my website at meghaworth.com. You can get 52 ways to tell if your parent is a narcissist, or you can book a free call with me, a free consultation to see if we are a good fit to work together in my Iconic Me coaching program. I'm seeing incredible results with my therapeutic coaching clients in a short amount of time. It's really amazing when you look at the holistic perspective, mental, emotional, physical, and energetic and spiritual, and you look at the entire holistic system and how profound that is and how much more quickly you can move through the wounds created by narcissistic abuse. I'm Dr. Meg Haworth, and I hope that this information will help you get well now.